So war is back. The depravity, the obscenity, the disgusting, disgraceful abuse of humanity has returned to Europe. Yesterday in Bucha in Ukraine, we saw streamed live on our TV obscenities of humanity that we probably haven't seen for such a long time. An old babushka, an old grandmother, sits in the car where her grandchild, her daughter and her grandson were also sat. The grandchild, the daughter and the grandson, they escape, but the headless body of the old lady remains. A man on a bicycle riding through his village, minding his own business, probably trying to get from A to B while staying alive, lies on the floor as if still pedaling his bicycle, where he's been shot through the head from the gun, the Russian weaponry of maybe even a young teenage mercenary, indoctrinated thug that felt it would be okay to pull that trigger. And as the car drives down the street, there are children, there are women, there are men, there are dogs, there are animals. There are houses flattened, there are houses on fire. There are cars and tanks and weaponry going into the multi-millions just lying there in total, utter destruction. It's sickeningly sad. But I suppose what's even more sickeningly sad, that the Russian people, the soldiers, would even approve of this. They will carry out the orders they are told to carry out. These are depraved times, but they're not new times, but they are depraved. It's always worth remembering that Russia is a country that was created and built to keep the rich rich, to allow the rich to get even richer, to allow the rich to have more money than anyone else, while the masses not necessarily suffer, but they always suffer from a lack of want. And in modern times, with our oligarchs living the way they live their life, they like to school their children in England, not in Russia. They like to party in Monte Carlo, not in Russia. They like to travel and fly and be seen to do in countries that are not Russia. And they like to spend and they like to share and they like to show their power through their wealth. But once you remove the ability for these people to live their life like that, you also remove the power from the government at some level. So probably at some point we will see this government fall in Russia faster than probably any other government has fallen in the past. And the reason for that is the identifying mark of being rich and having the ability to show your richness right now has been removed. Through a different kind of warfare, through a warfare of attrition and denial, Russians are being made to pay the price for their leaders' actions. And what are these actions? What is this sending these young men to war to be the slaughter? What is it where a man will stop another man in a car, and the man in the car has a young wife and a young son, and the man gets out the car, the Ukrainian man, to wave his hands, to ask a question or possibly surrender, and a young Russian man pulls out his gun and shoots the man dead? What kind of warfare is that? What kind of lasting legacy will that bring to a country? I've been to Russia, I've been to Moscow, I loved Russia. I love Tolstoy, I love Dostoevsky. I love all the Russian classics, the writers, their history. It's wonderful. It's so full of power. And it carries more power than any weapon can ever carry. But the deculturalization of a nation through one man is an abhorrence against the people. It's an absolute total abhorrence and a denial of the reality that it is the people, not one man, that makes a country. These are desperate, desperate times, not for us who sit here in our comfort. We sit here in our £500,000 house, recording videos or doing what we do on a daily basis. Not for us, we are fine right now. But we have to do what we can to slow down this speed and not to forget. And this is not about Ukraine versus Russia. This is about the dehumanization, the bastardization of human beings and setting them up to believe that we are right and they are wrong, so they must pay with their life. This can happen anywhere. It has happened in the most normal countries in the past, and it could revisit us at any point. This invasion, this war, this destruction taking place in Ukraine right now is a violent act against humanity driven by demonic activity. The minds that do what are being done right now in the name of God, and yes, they asked their Orthodox Church for a blessing and they called it a holy war. Again, being done in the name of God or in the guise of God or in the pretense of God, has to be stopped somehow, and it won't be stopped through weaponry and war. President Zelensky, we have to applaud the way that man has held himself through these times. It's a David and Goliath scenario, and David is winning. When David pushed through all the crowds and he said, I will kill this giant, this 6-fingered, 6-toed, 2-meter tall giant. And he stood there and he picked up pebbles from the dry riverbed and just the best pebbles, put them in his sling, and he shouted to Goliath, said, you come to me with spears and swords and weaponry, but I come to you in the name of God. And he swung his sling and it pierced the forehead of Goliath, who dropped down dead. David then ran over and picked up Goliath's huge sword and removed the head of the beast. Sometimes the only solution is to remove the head of the beast. This is a critical time, and it's a desperately, shockingly sad time to watch what's going on in Ukraine. It's horrible. Ukrainians killing Russians, Russians killing Ukrainians, Russians killing children, killing mothers, killing grandmothers, killing grandfathers, destroying and destructing anything that moves. We have to do something. Our silence cannot carry on. So if there's anything you can do, share messages on your social media, talk to others. We have to put these people in denial. We have to deny them of what they want, what they need, what they cry themselves to sleep for, to stop this slaughter. And let's not forget, most of those young Russian men do not want to be there. They do not want to be involved, and they have no idea why they're doing what they're being told to do. Guys, war is bastard, bastard is war. It will kill fathers, it will kill mothers, it will devour children, and it may be coming to us. Are we doing what we can do with what we've got to help to end this disgraceful, disgusting behavior we're seeing in Ukraine right now?